I bought 8 books while I was in Saskatoon, and I really miss working in a bookstore because for the last 7 years I have gotten a 30 to 40% discount, and this was expensive. But because the city doesn't have any independent bookstores anymore, I just haven't bought books in a very long time, saved up some money to do a trip like this, so I thought I would show you my purchases. I've had a screenshot of Familial Hungers in my camera roll for a very long time now. It's a course poetry, and one of the excerpts says, "In Familial Hungers, Christine Wu ushers her readers into a world where time expands like cooked grains of rice, love is a bowl of cut fruit, and the dead still eat." Emotionally grounded and precise, Wu's poetry captures the elusive quality of the immigrant home, a place where tongues stutter and taste buds recall, and shows us how desire can linger in a full stomach. My cat. She's the love of my life. Let me go through all of the poetry first, actually. I also picked up My Heresies. Oh my god, she's so cute. I don't really know anything about this. I thought the cover was very sexy, strange, alluring. For this back's excerpt, it says, "The poems of My Heresies catalog a personal and familial history originating in Romania and landing in Alabama. The imagery, sometimes abstract and lush, at other times stark and shocking. My Heresies probes the boundaries between the sacred and the profane, and the result is a hauntological mapping of life, love, family, and womanhood." The other poetry book is similar in that I didn't know about it beforehand. It's called An Orange a Syllable, with such a beautiful cover. I mean, look at that. This one says, "Each page of An Orange a Syllable is an encounter in a mirrored room. Printed words reckoning with the subject of speech. In visceral, lucid, diaristic poems, it documents with lyrical precision of how the words we say to each other are pivotal translations to ourself, capable of deepening both intimacy and estrangement." The formatting of this one is a little different than the others, which have a standard title and poem following it. This is a bit more of paragraphs of text. Again, I need to learn more about it. I haven't read it yet, but I believe this is going to come across more as a long poem. This next book isn't a poetry book specifically, but it does have a lot of poems in it. It is Ursula K. Le Guin's translation of the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. And as I've talked about before, I am studying Daoism and have been practicing Tai Chi for a few years now. One of the things I really love about it is how centered in poetry it is. And I am in a bit of a chaotic point of my life, and not in a silly, goofy way, in a genuinely kind of going through a crisis sort of way. And I do plan to talk about it at some point because I just kind of like deleted all of the social media off of my phone and am entering a period of solitude, going inwards a bit more and reading more. And yeah, I think like I'm experiencing some mental and spiritual burnout right now, and I've always found myself returning to Taoist philosophy in these kinds of moments. And so I wanted to get a new Daoism book, and my partner really loves Ursula K. Le Guin. They've read a lot of her speculative fiction. I haven't read any of her stuff, and I just kind of felt like this was our worlds colliding a little bit. We were both very surprised to see it. Moving on to the fiction books, I bought Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit. Now, McNally Robinson actually just added a new subsection in their LGBTQ plus section, which was queer history. It's about lesbianism, and the back says, "This is the story of Jeanette, adopted by a fanatical Pentecostal family and ablaze with her own zeal for scriptures. She seems perfectly suited for the life of a missionary. But then she converts Melanie and realizes she loves this woman almost as much as she loves the Lord. How on earth could her church call that passion unnatural? It's about gay people. It's about religious emotional warfare. Topics I read a lot about. I also got Bad Indians Book Club, which I am super excited about. I saw it online and got the impression that it was quite witty, while also talking about activism, calls for action in indigeneity, and community building. The author is also Anishinaabe Ukrainian and pulls from that experience. The back says, Bad Indians Book Club is a compendium of worlds. From a lifetime of reading, there emerges a marriage of tapestry and map, a vision of literary canon, not as some secret handshake of the correctly educated, but as a living, growing organism. There's a dangerousness to a book like this. It's not enough to define the good Indian, the grateful immigrant, and the untroublesome minority. Nor is it enough to simply reject these designations. One must interrogate how they came to hold so much power, and how they offer the willing participant so many crumbs of reward from colonialism's table. Oh, it just seems so good. I also got another Kathy Acker book. This one is Great Expectations. I'm really pulling out from the vaults here, but Kathy Acker's book, Blood and Guts in High School, was a huge inspiration for me when I wrote my second book called Screaming Sweet Nothings. That book was so violent and triggering to read around the woman or girl experience, specifically with desire and assault, and how the two intermingle. Blood and Guts in High School is a novella, but it is also poetry, and it has a play, and it has drawings in it. It's so fascinating. It really blew my mind when I read it. And that is all I've consumed of Kathy Acker. Until now. It says, in Great Expectations, first published in 1982, Kathy begins rewriting Charles Dickens' classic, splicing it with passages from the sexually violent Eden, 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 and prank notes to the likes of Susan Sontag and God. At the center of this form-shifting narrative, Acker's protagonist collects an inheritance following her mother's suicide, which compels her to revisit and reinterpret traumatic scenes from the past. Switching perspectives, identities, genders, and centuries, the speaker lustfully ransacks world literature to celebrate and challenge the discourse around art, love, life, and death. I'm gonna love it. I just know that. The last book is called Iris and the Dead. The back of this one says, weaving personal memory with magic realism and folklore, Iris and the Dead asks, what if you could look back and tell someone exactly how they changed the course of your life? For our narrator, that someone is Iris, the counselor with whom she developed an unusual, almost violent bond with. There are things she needs to tell Iris, some that she hid during the brief time that they knew each other, and some that she has learned since. She was missing from her mind the autumn they spent together, and has since regained it. Iris and the Dead unfurls the hidden power dynamics of abuse, offering a beguiling inquiry into the intergenerational trauma, moral ambiguity, and queer identity. I've been spending the morning journaling and realized it's been 1 year since I released my snail mail subscription, Love Letters. So for the entirety of 2025, I've been writing personal essays on the turbulence in the year, things around the changes in my interpersonal relationships, in grief, in identity concepts, as well as love for my partner, for the seasons changing, and a rekindled friendship. And it also gave me the opportunity to make new art pieces. So I did mini prints of some canvas paintings I'd done, poems, zines, stickers. I did some experimental art with like leaves and lino cut blocking. It's been such a grounding and meditative part of 2025. And so in order to celebrate, I want to add an extra art piece for December's love letter. If you've been subscribed since the beginning, you'll get the scheduled letter and seasonal art piece, but then I'll also add an additional never seen before piece. And then if you subscribed partway through or even just for the first time this month, the extra piece will be something from the archives that you missed out on before. So in that case, it'll be the scheduled letter, the seasonal art piece, and then a past one. I really appreciate everyone who's been supporting my small multimedia art, and I'm very excited to do it in 2026.